Howdy, folks. Dave Yelk here. Um, since I had my trailer backed up here for the last two videos of Miss Bella and Mr. Dante doing some trailer loading and Liberty work with them. And today, Miss Bella graduated, went home, and in exchange for Bella, they left with me Mr. Smoke here. He's a 3-year-old quarter horse paint, and he's just been dropped off. Came out of the trailer, and they walked him into my round pen and took his halter off for me. And so this is brand spanking new in terms of training with me horse. He's unbroke. They did tell me he's had a saddle on a couple times, and didn't have a big problem with that, but that he doesn't know a whole lot of anything. And they just put the saddle on him and let him eat grass or whatever. So I thought I'd do something I've never done and document the training life of a horse with me. This is going to be a lot of hours of video for you to watch, and I'll number them. But if anybody's interested in watching 4 weeks development of an unbroke horse to, well, at least a green broke horse, and when I say green broke, Miss Bella had been out on probably at least 7 trail rides, and there were folks that I was riding with that they thought she'd been under saddle for 3 or 4 years. And they were shocked when I told them, no, this horse has been under saddle 2.5 weeks. So, you know, they're after 4 weeks, I put a lot of miles on them, and they're good to go. So this guy's already thrown his front end up in the air and struck at the air with his front hooves. I don't know what that's about. But he doesn't have too much anxiety. I don't know how much time he spent by himself. I don't know much about him at all. So we're going to go find out. First thing I'm probably going to do, every horse, I don't have a religious method or technique or procedure. Normally the first thing I do is introduce myself to the horse, and I want to establish a relationship, establish a common language, because I want to teach the horse things. So we need a common language so I can teach them. And the relationship is really important. So I want to establish that, and I like to call it a master-servant relationship. I make the decisions, and you're the doer. And then I also want to teach them to learn. When they leave my place, I need a horse to be a good student. That way anybody can pick them up and teach them things because they know how to learn. So those are the main 3 things that the first session is normally 3 hours long. It's not going to be today because I've got personal things in my life. I can't devote 3 hours this afternoon to him, unfortunately. But I'll do that tomorrow and the day after and the day after. So bottom line is usually the first 3-hour session is those first things in the first 30 minutes I've taught them. I've established our relationship, taught them our common language, and teach them how to learn. And then usually last thing that happens, they're tacked at Liberty, and I sit in the saddle, I get off, and I leave, and I put them away. So we won't be doing all that today. I'm going to go ahead and move this camera so you can see more of the round pen. And I apologize for it being so far away. I don't have any help for camera work, so it is what it is. And I was thinking about, since I have my trailer here, and somewhere after I get some shoes on him and get a saddle on him and I get on and off of this guy a lot, I'm going to be taking him out on trail rides, so he needs to know how to get in a trailer. And yes, he got in a trailer to get here, but they said it wasn't that pretty. We'll see. So, but I need to teach him that anyhow, so I'm going to do things a little different. Instead of tacking him up right away, I'm going to go ahead and see how he feels about getting in and out of my trailer at Liberty. Alrighty. So, sorry for the long introduction there. I think that'll work just fine. I guess the first thing I'll do is see what he feels about fly spray. And one of the things you're going to note with me, I mentioned this on a couple of the other videos I've got. If you want to interview your horse and find out how they feel about things, you take halter and bridle off and then do it. And see, like I've met horses that have only been fly sprayed in cross ties. And it turns out you can't fly spray them at liberty, which means they're actually afraid of the fly spray bottle, or they don't like being fly sprayed or whatever, and yet you do it to them every day or something. So it's always good to do things at liberty, no halter or bridle on. You put a halter or bridle on the horse, they know they're physically constrained, restrained, and they don't have a choice. So they stand there, restrained. You take that head stall off, the halter or bridle off, and now you see they're going to vote with their feet and tell you how they feel. So he's telling me, came up and sniffed this, said, I got no problem with that bottle. I shake it, and he backed up a couple steps, but that might be him thinking that I want him to back. I don't know, what he's been explained in his past life. So I'm going to see how he feels about this. So he walked away. I'm looking him in the eye to tell him, I want you to stop and I want you to be with me. Okay, he stopped. I dropped the bottle down. I'm going to back up a little and give him a release because that's what I wanted. He looked at me. I'm going to take another step back because he's thinking about me, and there's nothing I want more important than a calm, relaxed horse asking, what does Dave want? He just licked and chewed. I'm going to take another step back because licking and chewing is a release of anxiety, and that means he's thinking better. So I'm going to come up here again. And I could do a little bit of physical restraining, like I could pick up and put a hand on the side of his head like this, which he doesn't even want me to do. And he's backing out of avoidance because he doesn't have a lot of choices right now. And when he quits, I'm going to quit. This is when the horse learns. The horse learns when you quit. If you never quit, the horse might be doing things, moving its body around in various ways, but hasn't learned it. And it's not going to learn it. It's like horse dives for the grass, you pull the lead line up. Horse dives for the grass, you pull the lead line up. Its entire life, for 20 years, that happens. Did the horse ever learn you didn't want it to eat? Nope. So, I mean, it's not really the same thing, but I don't know why I use that example. I guess because I recently watched a video and the method the trainer used I thought was not necessarily the clearest way to teach a horse. So I am physically restraining him with my hand a tiny bit to give him a hint, but then I'm going to walk away from him to let his anxiety subside. He can't learn if he has strong feelings. Learning takes place when you're calm and relaxed. Good. He just licked and chewed. I want that to happen. So I'm actually helping him out with my hand here, helping him make a decision. So you can kind of see how he feels about that. He doesn't. So I am curious. I'll get rid of this bottle in case he just doesn't have generally good feelings about that. So that tells me one thing I got to work on. By the way, the easiest way to desensitize a horse to being fly sprayed is use a sprayer on the end of a hose of water. Spray their body all over with a lot of force. And generally, if you can do that, the fly spray is easy. Good boy. So I'm going to see how he feels about people. He definitely doesn't seem afraid of people. He is licking and chewing. He's pretty relaxed. Good. I'm going to offer him something here. And you can see what he thinks about my offer. He was going to walk away, so I kept the pressure off. This is my offer. I'm offering him to come and be with me. I'm just curious what he thinks. Now, the worst thing you could do right there is reach back and touch that horse. The most powerful thing you have to offer a horse is peace. Nothing more powerful. If you can, have peace available to your horse always. Even when you're taking the peace away, you're taking the peace away because you want something. Always have it available, so as soon as the horse thinks about giving you the one thing you want, the reason you took the piece away, give them that piece back. Teach them what peace is, teach them that it's available, and this is how it starts. So, I started to walk toward him, and he started to walk away. But because he started to come with me when I came down like this, how's this working out for us? Yeah, works pretty good. He likes being with me right now. So now it's going to be a process with me of applying leadership. I'm the leader, he's the follower. I'm the master, he's the servant. I'm the decider, he's the doer. His job is to provide a service to humans the rest of his life when they ask that of him. So I'm going to now practice active and passive leadership, alternating and even simultaneous. And the power of both active and passive leadership at the same time is overwhelming to sentient beings, even yourself. If you meet somebody that you always want to be with, and then when they tell you to do something, you do it out of pleasure, but also knowing that if you don't, there's consequences. Well, the concept of having consequences for not doing what somebody tells you to do, that's active leadership. Do this. If you don't, here's the consequences. And every time you do it, you experience the consequences. That's active leadership. Passive leadership answers the question, do they want to be with you? Do you respect them? Do you like them? Do you love them? Are you kind? Are you aware of what their feelings are? That's all passive leadership. Loving your horse, being a friend to your horse. So you need to be both at the same time. If you're one or the other, the relationship is distorted. And you might ask, well, who the hell are you, Dave? Why do you think you know it all? Well, I don't know it all. I've worked with a few horses, and I listen to them, and they teach me. But I also happen to have a behavioral science degree, bachelor's of science in behavioral science, from the department that I studied in was called the Department of Behavioral Science and Leadership. So they were the preeminent department in a college to teach behavioral science and leadership. And then I have a master's in psychology and counseling. So I know a little bit about a few things. Alrighty then. So he doesn't hate me. He doesn't necessarily like me. He's kind of in between right now. Blank slate, neutral. I love it. Okay, so we're going to get on with our relationship, our common language, and teaching him to learn. Boy. He doesn't necessarily like his face being petted, I've noticed. Oh, this is good news. This is normally the offside hind leg is the worst leg, the worst side of the horse, because we spend a lot of time on the near side, and there's a whole lot of horses that I get. You can't even walk on this side of the horse. As you're standing in front of the horse, if you go to walk on this side of the horse, they turn their neck and block you with their head. They don't even want you over there. And when you go back there, they go, uh-uh. So this guy's been very well handled. He doesn't seem to care about which side I'm on or where I touch him. He's not defensive anyway, and it actually does not trigger, as far as I can tell, any feelings, which is nice. Yay, that's all good. Alrighty. So I use a lariat to enhance my communication with a horse. I find it a very convenient tool, and I was taught this by my mentor, Kenny Harlow, who was taught this from his mentor, who was John Lyons. I've studied with a lot of people after Kenny, including Buck Brannaman. I've taken all of his clinics. Okay, so the first thing you need from your student is paying attention to the teacher in the classroom. He, right now, does not seem to care about me at all. So step one, sensitize your horse to yourself. If they don't care about you, you're not going to get anything from them because they don't care. So you got to help them care. You got to provide a little motivation, whether it's positive or negative. And I'm going to start talking to body parts. His hind end, engine and brakes. His shoulders, steering wheel. And then there's the nose. So if he's facing me and I want him to go that direction, I'm going to put pressure on his left shoulder. And that's his steering wheel. I need him to change direction. When I want him to move forward, I'm going to put pressure on this rear end. My focus is always the hip point right there. Horses have a drive line at their withers. As a prey animal, predatory pressure says if the predation is occurring from the front aspect of the horse, they should slow down, stop, turn around, and go the other way. If predation's coming from back here, they should be going faster forward. So there's that drive line right at their withers for that pressure, and your legs fall just behind that. So that when you apply your legs, you're applying pressure behind their drive line. I'm looking at his hip point right now. This is a polite request to move. He did, so I respected that. He's got flies, but so, okay, out of respect for him, because I saw a green head on him and oh, shoot. So he's got some tabanids, biting flies. Green heads and gray heads, and then horse flies and deer flies, the little ones with delta wings that like to land on horse ears in the forest. Those three flies are in the category of, wow, that's a big one. They're in the category of tabanids, biting flies, and you should see a close-up of their jaws. It's like a chainsaw, and they hurt when they bite, and they don't respect a lot of the fly sprays. The only thing they really respect is DEET, as far as I can tell. So because I couldn't fly spray him, normally I'm going to teach him to be fly sprayed just standing still at liberty, but right now I got to get her done because I don't want him suffering. So we can really see how he feels about fly spray right now. You're okay. It's going to be hard for me to get in this groin, so I'm going to get her done. So when he stops moving, I want to take that away. That's negative reinforcement. I'm not asking him to move, but he's moving because he's afraid of it. When he stops moving, I'm going to take the thing he's afraid of away. Okay, so I'm rubbing it on him. While I'm rubbing it on him and he's standing still, I'm going to go ahead and spray. His movement occurred after I sprayed, so it didn't work to avoid the spray. Switch sides, switch hands. Pretty cool. This guy has been handled evenly on both sides, which is a beautiful thing to see. He feels about the same with me on this side as he did with me on the other side, which, like I said, is highly unusual. Now I could pick up this lead line and ask him to stop. It's better if I let him come to a stop, but if it goes on for too long, I can give him a hint with the lead line. I'm not holding him here, just if you zoom in on this lead line, I have a loose lead line. Yes, I have a lead line on him, but there's no pressure on this lead line. This is just to keep him with me. Okay, I gave him a super release. I put the bottle behind my back. He can't learn with high anxiety. I want him to learn from this. He licked and chewed. He actually swallowed the last one. He's not paying attention. Go on with the lesson. Okay, I think I've probably got enough fly spray on him that he's going to be good to go. And even though that wasn't meant to be a lesson, I wanted to get her done so flies wouldn't bother him while but yeah, I turn everything into a lesson, including this. Horses' head should not be up in the air when things come on and off their heads. I teach horses assume the position. The position is a head lowered at whatever height I find convenient for me and slightly bent toward me. I want them to present their head where it's easy for me. Right there is perfect. Because that was a perfect position, I took it off to tell them that's where I want your head from now on. We're going to review that. He's a little shy, being a little shy of me. So I'm going to make walls. My fingers right here is a wall on this side. Stay off my walls. When I'm riding a horse, my aids are walls. Stay off my aids. If my aid comes in, get off of it. There. His head is higher than I want it to be, but it's slightly bent toward me. When it is, I want to offer him peace. I don't want to hold it there. I'm teaching good decision making. I'm teaching him to ask, what does Dave want me to do? Now I want it lower. My hand's going to come up here on top of his head, apply gentle pressure, and when his head drops, my hand stays there. So he gets an immediate release. So he's got a little pressure on my fingers because he's a little shy and doesn't want his head this close to my body, and that is what I consider the perfect head position for me putting things on and off his head. If I were clipping something up there, I might want him a little lower. Depends. If I'm going in his ears to clip, well, okay, we just found out how he feels about that. Then I might want his head up at a little higher place. But if I'm trimming his bridle path or whatever, I might want it down lower. But when halter or bridle comes on or off, good lick and chew right there. I want his head right about here. So while I'm teaching him slowly, I'm also learning from him. I want to give my feeling to the horse and receive his feeling. He's telling me what kind of a horse he is, what his personality is, how his feelings are. and who he is. I need to know that. Every horse is an individual, every human is an individual, and they have the right to be treated as an individual. Their learning should be tailored for them, what works best for them as an individual. And our relationship needs to be tailored for what they need out of that relationship. Okay, that is just about a perfect head position. I want to tell him that by getting my hands out of there and offering peace. Okay, so that was a quick little, let's get the flies off the horse so he can be comfortable. There's 3 things I want from a horse that are different from all the other things I can demand of a horse. Those 3 things are different because the way you get them isn't by demand. The way you receive them is by giving those very things to the horse yourself. You have to earn them by giving the same thing to the horse. The first one is attention or focus. If I want him to pay attention to me, if I want him to think about me, I have to think about him. If I'm walking down the trail side by side, chit-chatting with my best friend here, and there's not a thought in my head about my horse, I'm just having a conversation with this person, I completely forget about my horse is going to completely forget about me. If I'm on a horse, there's no time that I should not have a piece of my brain thinking about him and that a piece of his brain isn't thinking about me. The other 2 things I have to give to my horse to receive is respect. Make that horse respect you. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way with people, dogs, or anything. You earn respect. How? By giving it. Okay? And the third thing is trust. Trust me. You can demand, you can cajole. Trust is earned by being trusted, being trustworthy. You have to trust the horse. You have to demonstrate somehow that you trust the horse so they can return the trust back to you. That is one of the hardest things for most people. Good job. Okay, that's the beginning of learning. Normally, moms teach their babies how predation works. If you receive predatory pressure, you should avoid it. That's negative reinforcement. Moms teach their babies negative reinforcement. And there's a lot of stuff you can read. And I use positive reinforcement. There's 4, in operant conditioning, there's 4 quadrants. Positive, negative reinforcement, positive, negative punishment. Okay, I use negative reinforcement because it's the fastest way and the easiest way to teach a horse. Now, if you ask me to start this horse under saddle using only positive reinforcement, I'll be happy to do that. It's going to cost you 3 or 4 times as much and 3 or 4 times longer. You want to pay me for 4 months of training instead of 1 month? Sure! Okay, and it's more work for me, and it's going to take longer. Not, it's more work, more time. It's not more work, it's actually less work probably. But it takes longer because you have to wait spontaneously for the desired behavior to occur that you can reinforce. So, generally, moms teach their babies negative reinforcement, respond to pressure because predation is pressure and you don't want to be somebody's meal. So, we use negative reinforcement for that reason on horses that are animals that are prey animals. Okay, so he offered to come to me because he thought about me. I'm going to tell him, sure. I'm going to wait for a little bit. When does learning occur? When I quit. Not when he's doing and not when I'm doing. He learns when I quit. If it was difficult to learn, I need to quit earlier and longer. He's off, doesn't care about me anymore, no thought in his brain about me, so we're going to go back to learning. What are we learning? I'm going to pick certain parts on your body, I'm going to put pressure on, and you're going to yield those body parts to me. You're going to start thinking about me while I'm thinking about you. Because if you don't pay attention, things are just going to be harder in your life. When you're paying attention, I'm offering peace. Right now, I'm not offering complete peace. I'm staring at his hip point with my vision. Vision is predatory pressure. As long as I'm looking at his hip point, he should be moving forward. If he doesn't, we'll have a discussion about that. Okay, so he's not getting consistent there. Now, when does he learn? When I make changes. It's good to be consistent. Right now, I'm putting pressure on his shoulder. Now I'm on his hip. I want him to go forward. I'm offering peace at the same time and maintaining a certain level of tiny bit of pressure because I want him to keep moving. Now, when I want him to turn around, I want him to turn away from me and go the other direction. All my pressure is going to go up to his nose to drive his nose in the other direction. Right there. I'm going to stay at it until it happens. He turned into me. There's very likely he was taught that. Or he loves to turn left. He just turned left away from me there. And when I asked for a turn away from me here, he turned into me, which was left. So I'm going to correct him and say, nope, that's not how I want you to turn. Nope, that's not how I want you to turn. Try it the other way. Good. That was hard for him, so I quit. The more frequent you quit, the longer your quits are, the faster he learns. And you might say, well, with all that quitting, that's going to take forever. Nope. If you teach a horse to learn, they can learn really fast after that. Take the time to teach them to learn. And Bella I just sent home, holy moly, did she learn a lot in 4 weeks. Brilliant horse. What I do first, taught her to learn. So that's probably long enough. I can see now this horse doesn't do a lot of digesting. He's good-natured. He's not taking things personally. Because he's facing that direction, I'm going to go ahead and tell him to move forward with pressure on his hip, which I did. Notice my pressure is gone, except for my vision. Because I have to demonstrate to him I'm focusing on him. If I turn my back and still think about his hip and think he's going to keep going, that's not going to happen. Every once in a while I got to go out and start a new file on the camera. I've got no videographer, so I'll try and keep these to an hour long each. I have no idea how long it's been running. I'm going to ask him to turn and go the other way. Pressure on his nose. He did. I'm going to back away from him. Drop my gaze to tell him that was perfect. You did a good job right there. And I quit. The quit is going to teach him. He dropped his head and licked and chewed. I'm going to take a couple more steps back. There's nothing I want more than this horse being calm and relaxed and thoughtful. Every time he's calm and relaxed and thoughtful, I want to celebrate with him. The celebration is quitting. Taking all the pressure off and letting him going, ah. Now, how long do I do it? It depends on him. He's thinking about me. He's looking at me, so I'm going to be a little reluctant. I'm going to give him a little tiny break here because I loved him thinking about me going, what's this asshole want? I'm sorry for my language. Yes, good boy. Now, occasionally, and this is going to be one of those cases, because he is thinking about me, I could stand there and do nothing and give him a long break. But instead, I'm going to teach him there's peace when you're with me. So I'm going to come up here like this. I'm looking down. I'm not staring him in the eye because I want him to enjoy this. And I'm going to come down like this and be with him. And he has already shown me very early in this video, he walked up and stood here like this with me earlier. So that implied to me he likes the presence of a human, it's okay with him, and he could get along with that. So I'm going to offer it to him and have peace together. Good. This is passive leadership. Good. Good. And since we're doing this, I'm going to take this time to, this is part 1 of starting Mr. Smoke. 3-year-old quarter horse paint. And I'm going to try to document every minute of training with him except for our trail work. I'm not going to do that. No way to really do that. But so for the first time in my life, I'm going to try and document beginning to end. Oh, that's only 36 minutes of my starting Mr. Smoke under saddle till graduation. Welcome to the series of Mr. Smoke.